one for passage. And with that, I welcome you. And the first bill we are going to hear this evening is Bill number 613 by President Ruggerio, an act relating to labor and labor relations, the Real Jobs Rhode Island Act. This act will establish a Real Jobs Rhode Island program in order to create an industry-led system to advance the skills of state workforce, grow the state's economy, increase sustainability, employment for middle-class working families. So first we have from the Department of Labor and Training, Matt Weldon, that would like to speak first. Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a good opportunity for me to tell you in my new role. I'm very excited. I wish I had the opportunity to be with you there in person, but here we are.
Matt,
we want to thank. Go ahead.
Before you go on, I know that in your new role, but one of our staff members here said you should shave your beard.
Thank you. I'm taking suggestions up until my hearing date.
Okay.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. We want to thank President Ruggerio and the Senate leadership team for putting in this bill. This has been the hallmark of Rhode Island's workforce development strategy for the last 6 or 7 years. This is a program that really connects job seekers with meaningful opportunities to not only get new jobs, but also advance their careers to put themselves on a path to prosperity. It's good for our economy, and it works for all parties. And, I've been in that building a long time, Mr. Chairman. There's not a ton of bills that come up where you see business and labor emphatically stand together to tell you that programs are working right. This, I think, is one of them. And I think you're going to hear that from some folks or read that in comments that folks submit. We've helped nearly 12,000 individuals through the Real Jobs program and its sister programs. We've helped over 2,000 businesses. This is a program that's giving people real opportunities in life. That's why we use the real term. This is something that's going to continue to pay dividends in the future. This bill here essentially creates a permanency for the program. One of the challenges that we've had in the past was it's tough enough to get businesses to work with government sometimes just because of the reputation that government can have. And we've worked really hard to fight that stigma. But putting it in statute lets companies know it's here to stay, this is our strategy, and we're going to use it to benefit all parties. We're very proud of the program. I'm very happy to take questions at any time.
Do any of the committee members have any questions for Matt?
I don't have a question. I have a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Lombardi.
Thank you. In this virtual world, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sure you agree, we're not able to meet people face to face, and this is the first opportunity I've had to communicate with Matt in a legislative session. I want to congratulate him on his position, but I also want to say for the public who's hearing, there could not have been a better appointment to this position. Matt makes our job a heck of a lot easier. A simple phone call to Matt, and a lot of people are frustrated with the hotlines and all of that involving DLT. And Matt does a phenomenal job for all members of the Senate when we call him and people reach out to our constituents for us. And I just want to say thank you for doing that, Matt.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and it's well deserved for Matt. Any other questions or comments for Matt? Okay, Matt, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Next up, we have Nora Crowley speaking on behalf of President Ruggerio.
Thank you, Chairman. It's hard to follow Matt Weldon on this, but on behalf of the Senate President, I'm really thrilled to speak about this bill. As Matt described, what we're aiming to do really is make the program permanent. It has existed only in statute in the form of budget articles in the past. There is a proposed appropriation for it again for FY22. But I think particularly as we navigate the economy's recovery post-pandemic, one of the most important steps we can take to ensure our economic recovery and to ensure that Rhode Islanders can shift to new careers if they need to is to invest in workforce development that actually connects people to jobs. So specifically this bill, I want to call it a couple of pieces that it codifies, and it's really codifying features of Real Jobs as it exists today that make it especially effective. First, that all state-funded workforce development remains demand-driven, and that actual employers and industry leaders have a chance to design the job training that is offered and funded through the state. That's a really critical component to ensuring we're not just training people and hoping they get hired, but ensuring they're ready for the jobs that will exist. The second thing is that the bill builds in allowability for really critical support services. Folks are having a hard time right now. A lot of our neighbors and colleagues that we've come close to over the years are being supported by unemployment right now. We have to ensure that they can take advantage of training, and that means providing things like transportation support, technology assistance, access to childcare, and this makes some of those costs allowable and helps ensure that they'll have access to it while they're in training and beyond. And finally, a piece that I think is really important is that it specifically builds out an expectation that DLT will continue to use data to ensure that job seekers are well served, that employers are well served, and that taxpayer dollars are well spent. It's a big component of the bill to ensure that reserve the right to really hold those programs accountable to ensure they still work for the participants and the employers involved, and I want to highlight that critical piece. I'm happy to take any questions about this, but appreciate your consideration of the bill.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee members? Okay, none. Thank you for your testimony, Nora, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, next we have testifying in support is Melissa Travis. Good afternoon, Melissa.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman and members of the committee. Would you like me to go ahead?
Yes, please.
My name is Melissa Travis. I am the President and CEO of the Rhode Island Society of CPAs and Rhode Island Business Forum. I also serve as Vice Chair of the Rhode Island Business Coalition, also Rhode Island Industry Alliance, and I serve on the Executive Board of the Manufacturers Association. I'm honored to be able to be here today. I also submitted written testimony, which I will not read. Instead, I want to give you a very important perspective. RISPA, my organization, was the first state society in the United States to participate in any workforce development program. And this certainly exceeded our expectations, but more importantly, those of our member firms. When I took the helm, we had an aging workforce, which is an issue everywhere, but especially here in Rhode Island, and younger candidates graduating who lack necessary skills. And I also want to be candid about something else I came to realize. The big four accounting firms and many of the larger firms right here and nationally aggressively recruit students from certain schools in here like Bryant and PC, some URI, but even though there's no pipeline of talent, they were not interviewing kids from RIC. So when I brought that to the attention of Scott Jensen and Nora Crowley, who you just heard from, they were in my office the next day saying, we have a solution because we needed to level the playing field. Adding to this, we're seeing local colleges who are just starting to build data analytics training into their curriculum, which has quickly taken over our industry, along with manufacturing, logistics, banking, and others, at an alarming pace. Of course, COVID has exacerbated all these issues, not to mention we're still in the middle of the most challenging tax season ever, and I can assure you we're already hearing from our senior members that they plan to retire. So we're expecting retirements this year to be more than any other time in our history, both here in Rhode Island and nationally. Real Jobs provides critically needed job training skills to college students and incumbent workers looking to advance. Almost all of the participants were from public higher education institutions, mostly RIC, but some URI and other, and some credit the Rhode Island Promise program with their being able to continue. Real Jobs is giving these kids the critical tools and fundamentals they needed to compete for quality, high-paying jobs in accounting and financial services. For the record, these jobs start at about $60,000 and go straight up. And with what we're seeing, I believe these kids will be writing their own ticket soon. The fact that this program also serves a diverse population, many are from underserved and underrepresented communities and include racial and ethnic minorities and first-generation students, is also important, along with the value these programs are instilling to provide confidence and just core fundamentals to a generation who just needs to know people believe in them. I've done a lot in my life that's made a difference, but nothing has been compared to what we've done in this program. It's truly changing lives. I say this because these kids, some of them had to take 2 or 3 buses to get to our original training program when we held it in person at the Education Center. We learned a couple in the second cohort were homeless. So you can imagine what happens when that hits you, when you realize what these kids and what these people have had to overcome to be in that room. The most inspirational part has been watching them go from huddled in the back room to shining on graduation day. Many of them have expressed after the program they never thought they belonged there. They didn't think they could make it. And we saw this on day one. I was so proud of the fact that we were able to guarantee them the ability to meet with CEOs or anyone on their bucket list if they just completed the program, which proved to be a game changer because it also pulled in all of these folks, whether it's CEOs, industry leaders, managing partners from our own firms, Treasurer Magaziner, DBR Director Tanner, and our current governor, who all worked with these kids and gave them the opportunity to interact with professionals. So, during the first round, we had struggled to get kids. We now have a waiting list for the program. We also struggled to get firms to partner with us because, this was a program nobody had ever heard of. Also not a problem anymore. At the very first graduation luncheon, which included these VIP leaders I just mentioned, everything I needed to know came from one of the comments from a senior manager from one of the very largest firms in the state who walked up to me and said, "What the hell did you do to these kids?" They went on to tell me how they interviewed 3 of them who were not considered for various reasons, but all justified, and could not believe their eyes with the composure, confidence, and ability they had to interact with them and address them professionally. Every single one of those kids was offered a job or an internship on the spot, and now we have waiting lists for interns. As I said, this program is the most important thing I've ever done in my career. I am so grateful to all of you who wrote this legislation, including the Senate President, you, Chairman Ciccone, Vice Chair Lombardi, everyone who is supporting this and why we're here today. Thank you for recognizing the importance of this program and what it means for Rhode Island's future. And I can't tell you how much it means to allow me to testify today, so thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Any committee members have any questions? It appears not. Once again, thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. You too.
It appears that 2 additional individuals that signed up we cannot get a hold of, but I do have communications from the Rhode Island Nurseries Association, SEIU, the Department of Labor and Training. Let's see. And it appears that they all in support. With that, there'll be a motion in order for passage.
Move passage, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Lombardi
Second.
moves passage. Senator Sosnowski seconds. Is there any discussion? Being none, Mr. Clerk.
Chairman Ciccone.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Past meetings, Senator Ciccone,
Senator Golden.
members of the Lottery Commission,
Yes.
petitioners, the legislature.
Senator Lombardo.
Looking to
Again, feedback.
get the winnings for the people who are in
Yes.
exclusion.
Senator Picard.
Self-exclusion means that
Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz, I see you now.
Yes.
Motion passes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll be moved to the floor. Next, I see Senator Gallo ready to join us. Welcome, Senator Gallo. Her bill, Senate Bill 322, an act relating to labor and labor relations, employment of women and children. This act would require children who seek special limited work permit to successfully complete a worker rights training program established and funded by the Department of Labor and Training. Senator Gallo.
Thank you so much, Chairman Ciccone and members of the committee. Thank you for hearing this today. I've put it in for many, many years, and it's exactly as you said. Sorry about that. But this year we wanted to, they wanted to amend it to match the House. Hold on one second, I'm sorry. sorry. But it needs to be held and amended so that it matches the House. The House has changed it from what it's been in the past so that it can work remotely. So I would ask that it be held at this point. Well, it's not up to me to do that, sorry. It's the same bill as we've passed every year.
Okay, that was easy, and I believe we have somebody that's ready to make a motion to hold.
So moved.
I thought you were a little slow on that one, Senator Lombardi.
Well, I want to give everybody a chance, Mr. Chairman, but it's also late in the day. I want to get home. Thank you.
Okay, a motion made by Senator Lombardi to hold. Is there a second?
Second.
Senator Lombardo, motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, Mr. Clerk?
Chairman Chacon.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
Yes.
Senator Lombardo.
Yes.
Senator Pickard. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Motion's held, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gallo. Okay. Our next bill being heard is Senate Bill 432 by Senator Dela Cruz, an act relating to business and business professions, Freedom to Travel and Work Act. Senator Dela Cruz, you are up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bill S-432 is a business-friendly bill. It tells people who would consider moving to our beautiful state that we are open for business and that we welcome them without all the red tape. That we will license them so long as they meet the minimum requirements and pass the minimum license standards of the state that they are coming from. I think it's time to pass legislation that invites people to come to live in Rhode Island and doesn't make it easy for them to choose the alternative, such as Massachusetts. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Senator Dela Cruz? Being none, let's see. A motion to hold is in order.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Lombardi makes a motion to hold. Is there a second? Senator Burke makes a second. Any discussion? Being none, Mr. Clerk.
Chairman Chacon.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
On the excluded list.
Yes.
Senator Lombardo.
Giving them access
Yes.
to
Senator Pickard. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Motion's held, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Could we hold a minute? We're getting feedback from, I think it's,
I believe it's Senator Lombardo because he's watching two different meetings at the same time. So when he opens his camera, opens his mic to speak, we hear the background.
okay.
I apologize.
Okay, the next bill we have is by Senator Felag, an act relating to business and business professions. This we've heard in the past. This act would allow the test applicant to earn the required credits towards the qualifications for Journeyman B electrical examination by completing 288 hours of classroom training in a recognized trade school. This act would also increase the required period of indentured apprenticeship with the Department of Labor and Training and a licensed electrician master from 2 to 4 years. I believe we have one person speaking on it, and that's Mr. Paul Mcdonald from IBEW Local 99. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. Good afternoon, dear Chairman.
Doing well.
That 15-second delay gets me. Thank you very much for the opportunity, though. IPEW 99, I am the representative for them regarding Senate Bill 0686. The general disagreement about the bill is how the hours and years employed are determined. We don't have a lot of issues with it. other than that fact. And we're suggesting that while we're opposed to this, that if Senator Felag and the other sponsors would like to discuss this with us, we're more than willing to sit down and talk. But for the moment, we are opposed. Thank you very much for this opportunity. If there is a question, I'd be glad to try and answer it.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions from the committee on this piece of legislation? If not, I will speak to Senator Felag and have him contact you, Paul, or Mr. Walsh from IBDW 99.
In light of that, I move to hold, Mr. Chairman.
We have one more person speaking on this.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Next speaking is Sharon Ring from MTTI. Good afternoon, and welcome to Senate Labor.
Good afternoon.
We're ready for your testimony.
Yes, I thank you for taking the time to listen to my testimony. I have submitted my comments in writing, and I wanted to be available for any questions the committee may have. But basically, the issue is we operate a technical school, a trade school in East Providence for residential and commercial electricians. It's a 900-hour program, all focused on electrical training. And our students go through, get intensive hands-on experience, a lot of classroom, a lot of coding, and they're only getting 144 hours for the educational experience, where in Massachusetts they're getting 600 hours. We're an accredited school, have been for 35 years, and we think it's really hurting our Rhode Island residents and Rhode Island employers because there's such a demand for electrical apprentices in the field. It's such a growing field, and just they're going to Massachusetts because they get all their hours there. So we're hoping that we could increase the hours to at least get 288. So 2 of their educational years would be covered. Even though in Mass they get 4 years, at least it would be a step in the right direction. We're hoping that you will consider that, and I'm open for any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee?
Did you say there aren't any?
No, there appears no committee members have any questions, so thank you for your testimony, and have a good evening.
Okay, thank you very much. You have a good evening as well. Bye.
In light of that, Mr. Chairman, I would move to hold.
Senator Lombardi makes a motion to hold. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Sosnowski. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Chairman Chacon.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
Yes.
Senator Lombardo.
Yes.
Senator Picard. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Motion's held, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next bill we're here today to hear is Senate Bill 745, an act relating to business and professions, electricians, and it's by Senator Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This act would create a certificate PC allowing public institutions of higher learning to employ Class B journey person electricians to perform minor electrical work on their premises under an approved permit. And once again, I have introduced this bill at the request of the University of Rhode Island. I want to once again thank you, Chairman Chacon, for all the work you did in 2019, working with all the parties that were concerned with this bill and creating a sub-A language, which the Senate passed in 2019. This bill is that sub-A language, and I'm hoping that we could move the bill. I know you have received some, we have all received some letters on the legislation, and I'm open to any questions you may have on the bill.
Any questions from the committee to Senator Sosnowski? I believe there's none. And we have two people that are ready to speak on the bill. First, we have David Lamb from the University of Rhode Island, Director of Facilities and Operations. Good afternoon and welcome to Senate Labor.
Oh, good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Is it okay to talk? This is
Yes, it is.
great. This is David Lamb. I'm Director of Facilities at the University of Rhode Island, and I have some testimony to support this bill.
Please
I want to
continue.
thank Senator Sosnowski for her continued support in sponsoring this important legislation for URI. Mr. Chair, the legislation before the committee today represents the incredible effort you took in 2019 to negotiate a licensing option for the university that addresses the current limitations of our electricians and how they are affected. We are grateful for your leadership to negotiate the language presented in this legislation that was passed by this committee and the full Senate in 2019. Unfortunately, we ran out of time during the 2019 session, and then the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 prevented the bill from being considered. A quick refresher of the bill is that it would allow URI licensed electricians to efficiently and rapidly respond to the university's needs for minor electrical work. The cost and time to solicit a contractor for maintenance work that our in-house electricians are licensed to perform is prohibitive. URI electricians have the same licensing and training as other licensed electricians in the state of Rhode Island. URI has a number of journeyman electricians. Some have multiple licenses. URI currently has 3 master licensed electricians. This legislation will allow URI to meet the needs of our research community and students living on campus, which often need minor electrical work done on short notice. URI has regularly scheduled meetings with the Rhode Island building code officials to ensure our projects and work are inspected to meet state requirements for building codes, electrical codes, and fire and life safety codes. URI currently maintains over 300 buildings with over 4 million square feet of space. Over 2 million square feet of this space is residential halls supporting over 7,000 students, 24 in South County, Rhode Island, with very limited interest from electrical contractors in the small maintenance electrical work. A recent solicitation to the 15 contractors on the Rhode Island Master Price Agreement, MPA 41, resulted in 2 responses, both of which were more than double the cost to perform the work with URI licensed employees. The university gets significant responses to our major construction contracts, but typically there is much less interest in our maintenance work. The Rhode Island Department of Administration, Department of Transportation, and the Rhode Island Airport Corporation are permitted by statute to perform any electrical maintenance work necessary to ensure the facilities and infrastructure under their responsibility operate at the expected levels of performance. Given that the university is responsible for maintaining almost half of the state's property, the university requests a portion of this flexibility in order to properly support our students, faculty, and staff. Thank you for considering this important legislation. Myself and my colleagues Dan Cartier and Wayne Baskins are in my office and are available to answer any questions the committee may have.
Are there any questions from the committee? Yeah, I have a couple of questions. As the bill was heard in the past, we heard that there was some opposition from IBEW Local 99, and I received a phone call today that it appears that there's some type of agreement that they're not opposing it this year. Am I correct?
This is Dan Cartier. We have no direct knowledge of that, but from my understanding from our last round of legislation, they come to agreement that this legislation, as it's written now, works.
Okay. And my second question is, I have a communication from the ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors, and I believe their concern is that there is not a master electrician at URI that could pull a permit if necessary. And if I remember, the work that was to be done was work that is of a repair type or replacement nature. Am I still correct?
We have 3 master electricians on campus that can have a permit process that we can put in place with the state. We pull an annual maintenance permit every year, and we track our work, and we can review that with the state electrical inspector.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Mr.
Next up, we have James Senarini from Local Council 94 AFSCME. Good afternoon, Jim. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Labor.
Oh, good afternoon, Chairman. How are you doing? Let me just mute myself here.
Jimmy,
ready
you were never
to begin
muted.
testimony, sir?
Yes, you're ready for your testimony.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Jim Senarini, Rhode Island Council 94. We represent over 10,000 active and retired state, municipal, and private sector workers. We're in strong support of S745, and we are extremely grateful both to Senator Sosnowski, who has continued to champion this legislation, and to Chairman Chacon, who had helped us craft this compromise that was really tailored to solve a problem. The problem being that while the University of Rhode Island, and specifically Local 528, represents master level electricians and also Type B or journeyman electricians, while they're fully licensed and accredited and retain and keep up all their licenses, there was a statutory interpretation that they could not work inside the walls with work that they regularly have done for the university for many years. So we had approached the General Assembly jointly, the University of Rhode Island taking the lead, the union supporting legislation to fix this problem. The resulting legislation, as discussed, is what is before you now. I would just reaffirm that the bill is got some restrictions on it. The concerns previously voiced by opponents of the legislation was a belief that our unionized electricians, one Joe Dorley, who has over 30 years and holds dual union membership, I believe, still with IBEW as well as with AFSCME. There was a concern, though, from IBEW that we would start trying to take on all construction projects, large construction projects, and nothing could be further from the truth. The delineations and restrictions are detailed clearly in the legislation to keep this to a limited scope of work. We hope that the General Assembly and the Senate will look favorably upon this and pass the legislation and fix a long-standing problem. And I'd be happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Any committee members have any questions for Mr. Senarini? It appears not. Jim, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'm going to request a motion to hold so we can send a letter back contradicting the
Motion to hold.
communication we received from the American Builders Association. Motion made by Senator Lombardo, I believe, seconded by, we have Senator
second.
Burke. Any discussion? Being none, Mr. Clerk.
Chairman Chacon.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
Yes.
Senator Lombardo.
Yes.
Senator Picard. Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
Motion's held, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, would a motion to adjourn be in order?
Yes, it would be.
Mr. Chairman, before we adjourn, I think I missed a vote while I was testifying in the other committee. Can I be marked in the affirmative?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Lombardi, you are ready to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, seconded by Senator Dela Cruz. All those in favor, since we're on TV, Mr. Clerk, please.
Chairman Chacon.
Yes.
Senator Lombardi.
Yes.
Senator Burke.
Yes.
Senator Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Senator Golden.
Yes.
Senator Lombardo.
Yes.
Senator Picard,
Yes.
Senator Sosnowski.
Yes.
We are adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Have a good evening to the committees.